everybody. I'm Matt Valley. Welcome to episode 124 of the Rock and Roll Research Podcast, where we share the super cool backstories and side gigs of the research and insights pros that you trust. Well, hey, today's guest, I'm super excited. It's my good buddy, Joseph Wylie. So let me tell you a couple things about Joseph. He is the Director of Global Supply for the leading panel provider, Precision Sample, which is actually a Toluna company. The Precision, trusted partner, great company, awesome. You're doing the tough work, so that's great stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Matt. This is so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, couple other things. So, I actually work with Joseph pretty much on a weekly basis because he is the fearless leader, the president of the South Central chapter of the Insights Association, of which I am actively involved in. So I speak for everybody when I say that Joe has been a wonderful president. So that's great. It's wonderful to work with.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Chuck,
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Hey, it is what it is. You call it like it is.
Well,
So,
you've been a huge asset too on the team. So I'm lucky to have you as somebody who works with Metro Director of Dallas, and then you're also doing the UTA board and helping from University of Texas Arlington. So I appreciate your help on that.
yeah, hey, we're all keeping busy. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Joseph is also a very proud graduate of the Michigan State MSMRA program, now the MSMRA program, Master of Science in Market Research and Analytics, reflecting its STEM designation. So that's cool. Fun
Very
fact,
cool.
Joe also did his undergraduate at Michigan State. I'm also a two-time degree holder at a Big Ten school, so I like to say that I'm a gopher twice over.
Oh yeah.
And
Love it.
so Joe is a two-time Spartan. I beg your pardon. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, real bad.
Yeah. And it's a tough time right now. We just had a pretty rough loss, I think, last weekend. So
Same, same. What do
yeah, we're in good company.
you? Racking up sports losses is a way of life in Minnesota. So
Yeah.
that's the way it works. So, but here's the thing. I just recently realized that Joe is an amazing singer. An amazing singer, blew my mind. And so I figured we got to talk about it. And so here we are. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you so much. I'm so stoked to be here. Seriously, I've watched a lot of your episodes, and I've always wanted to be on the podcast. So I'm really looking forward to talking with you.
Great. I'm super excited to have you. So before we jump in and get started, I have to say a couple words about Magic Mind, which is this great productivity elixir that I have been using now for, if you've watched the podcast, the last, I don't know, 8 or 10 episodes. You've seen me talk about this. It's great. Gives me this boost of energy, makes me feel awesome, and I like to take it during the podcast. So if this is something of interest to you, I highly recommend it. You can go to magicmind.com/rockandroll20. Get yourself a nice discount on a one-time purchase or a subscription. So I'm going to go down the hatch, and then we'll get started. Ready? Salute.
Chug.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Okay. So here's where I like to start is, you've seen a couple of episodes. So let's talk research. Let's start there. So
Yeah.
everyone's got a story, how they got interested in it. What's your story?
So I feel like a lot of people say that they fell into research, and I feel like I'm one of the few people that like kind of sought it out myself and didn't fall into it, I guess. So I was a psych major my freshman year in my undergrad at Michigan State. And then I switched to marketing. And in my last marketing class, I knew I was going to be having this market research like course.
Sure.
And yeah, I knew I was into it. I thought it was a great like intersection between marketing and psychology. So I was like, all right, market research. This is great. And then yeah, straight out of my undergrad, I went into my master program that you mentioned, the MSMRA program now. And that was awesome. Had some great professors that kind of instilled even more love with into marketing research. And then Yeah, I got a job right out of the master program at Precision Sample that I took in Denver. So moved out there, and yeah, I've just been loving my time there ever since. And now I'm director of global supply.
Yeah, cool. And you moved to Chicago, is that right?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, my job went a little bit like hybrid, as a lot of them did. And when
Sure.
my job role changed to this director position, I was working more on the back end rather than with my like sales team in the office. So I opted to travel back to be a little closer to home, where I grew up in Michigan, and now I wandered off in Chicago. So it's great. I love it out here, though. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. I've wandered off into Chicago a couple times in my
yeah,
life.
right.
All three of my kids were born in Chicago, as a matter of fact. So,
Oh, love it.
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
great place.
Cool. How'd you get involved in the Insights Association, by the
That's a good question. I think so. Early on, I was lucky enough at Precision Sample um, to have Merrill Dubrow, who everybody knows as a mentor.
way? Mhm.
And one of the biggest things he would tell me every single time we would talk early on, this is like 2018, is like, you gotta get involved with Insights Association. It's the best way to network with all the best industry professionals.
Yeah.
You can attend all these great events, learn from these amazing presentations. And so I was like, yeah, sounds great. And I think I started volunteering in 2019 just as like a marketing guy, like helping with the social media. And then I
Sure.
worked my way to like director of like of communications, I think, and then president elect. And now I'm president somehow. So I don't know how it happened. They just let me do it though. So I'm just loving the time there. Yeah.
I'm just laughing because I can't tell you how many situations that I've been in professionally now that you get somebody who's, kind of fresh out of school and you just recruit them for the social media part. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of how it goes.
Well, that was kind of a beautiful thing because I noticed that all of the social media pages for the South Central chapter were like empty, like nobody
Yeah.
was posting. It was totally dry. So I reached out to the president at the time of the chapter and was like, "Hey, do you need somebody to help out with this?" So that was kind of my in,
Oh,
weirdly enough,
yeah.
was like
Yeah.
finding something within a process that wasn't being taken care of and kind of jumping in when I saw the opportunity.
Yeah. Great. Well, you're doing a
Yeah.
wonderful job leading the chapter. So I appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah, for
that.
sure. All right, so you got to tell me about this because we've known each other for a couple years now, and
Yeah,
I had no idea that you've got this golden voice, like a really good singer. Not just,
that's
someone
really
who's
nice.
good at karaoke, but I mean, the real deal. So tell me about that.
I do love some karaoke, but yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I started kind of singing and acting and stuff in high school, and that's
Yeah.
where I think I really found the passion with it. Just in like musicals and plays and stuff. So then I graduated, went to Michigan State, and joined a co-ed a cappella group called State of Fifth. Shout out State of Fifth, they're great.
Dating fits.
Award-winning group, yeah.
Cool.
And I was with them for 4 years, and that really helped me to hone in on kind of like skills like harmonizing and just
Yeah.
like working with other people. And then after that, I moved out to Denver, as you know, and joined kind of a small acoustic kind of group and played at breweries and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then moved to Michigan, started doing some solo shows, just me and the guitar. And when I came out to Chicago, I realized, hey, I'd like to have some friends. So I found this band. We're called Joe Pico. You can search us on Instagram at Joe Pico Band. And we're playing all over the place now. A lot of cool venues in Chicago, and we
Yeah.
have kind of this rock alternative, kind of pop rock sound, and it's just been so fun playing with them. And now, as you, I don't know, did we mention this yet? I have an EP coming out October 4th, which is the day this drops, right?
That's right. How exciting is this? So this podcast drops October 4th, so you should be listening to this on Friday, October 4th. And so
Yeah,
just go over from this podcast, go to Spotify or wherever.
anywhere you stream. Yeah.
That's right,
And
brand
the
new
EP,
EP.
yeah, and it's under the name Joe Wylie. Check it out, Joewylie. and it's called Frontal Lobe Development, which is kind of a silly name, but all the songs on the EP were written during or about times in which I was kind of undergoing the process of developing my frontal lobe, I like to say. So that's where it gets the name from, which is also very psyche of me to say. That's the psych major for my freshman year coming into
For
play.
sure. Sure. Yeah. Psyche and even market researchy. So
A little bit. Yeah,
totally
yeah, yeah.
works. Totally
Yeah.
works. Excellent. So tell us a little bit about the music. What's going to sound like if somebody tunes in?
It's got a little bit of a mix. I would say like a couple of the songs we kind of fashioned production wise off of early days of like Maroon 5, like songs about Jane. And so it's got kind of that alt rock, pop rock type of vibe. And then like a few of the songs are almost more like country-ish. So there's like I like to call it old like classic Jason Mraz type of a sound from like the 2000s.
Sure.
I just really love the early 2000s, kind of like alt pop rock as a genre. So yeah, a lot of analog instruments, not super heavy on the synth, not overproduced, not overcompressed, but just very lots of harmonies. So bringing in my acapella days to the picture, and yeah, I'm really excited to have it out there though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your voice is so nice, and your pitch is so spot on. You don't even need
Thank
auto tune,
you.
right? You don't
That's
need
so
auto
nice.
tune. You're good.
I mean, hey, sometimes a little pitch correction can help. I'm not gonna lie, but no one's perfect, right? But thank you. That's very nice.
All right, super cool. So you've been singing longer than you've been doing market research. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
so I'm, but you've kind of been doing both in parallel all along. So,
Yeah.
is there anything you've learned from one that you've applied to the other? Any similarities, contrasts? How do you think about that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think the biggest kind of like takeaway from music that I bring to research, I think, is like creating sub goals and deadlines for myself. I work kind of independently right now. I have like a lot of clients and partners that I reach out to on a daily basis, though, to kind of improve our integrations, check up on our quality, make sure that everything's kind of in a good place. So with music, I had this kind of idea that in I think it was 2019, I wanted my sub goal was to have an EP out before 2025. That was the goal I set for myself.
Yeah,
So that involved having to, set aside time to write for a few minutes every day, put aside time to get some production down, and just kind of like work out all the kinks from a music perspective. But and that kind of like mentality, I think does carry over to what I do in my day-to-day work life as well. And just setting like deadlines for myself, making sure I'm following up with partners on a regular basis. And then kind of vice versa, I think that research has helped me kind of analyze key components at very granular levels, which is so important when I'm co-producing and making music, just like kind of looking at every single instrument. I've listened the songs on the EP I've listened to through maybe a million times each song. I don't know, but
sure.
like every time I listen through, I'm listening to a different instrument or checking if any kind of part needs pitch correction or there's a harmony that's off or can I blend like the harmonies better.
Yeah.
So just kind of like I would say it's mostly big picture stuff like goal setting and kind of like really digging deep at a granular level that kind of goes for both research and music.
Sure, sure. And working closely with you, that totally makes sense. I would definitely consider you somebody who is goal oriented and a planner. So
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah,
that's
appreciate
very,
that.
yeah, that's very apparent.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
awesome, super cool. All right, so let's talk a little bit more research again. So you're in an interesting space at an interesting time.
Mhm.
Panel and research respondents is a big topic in the industry, has been for a while. Data quality, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. So
Yeah.
you're on the front lines, global panel supply. So
Right.
when you kind of look at where the industry is headed, where the space is headed, what do you see ahead of you?
Well, I would say that like, you go to a lot of the conferences, Quirks and the CRC. There's a lot of presentations about AI and
Sure.
sample quality, right? Because those are two of the things that are drastically changing at exponential rates, which everybody kind of knows. I know I sound like a broken record right now, but they also go really hand in hand. And that's kind of what I'm really proud of the work I do at Precision Sample is maintaining like the highest level of quality possible with our 20-step validation process we have. And I'm the one who kind of looks through all of the data that comes in and works with our partners on a regular basis to make sure that we're not seeing duplicates, we're not seeing a ton of reconciliations. And we have our own proprietary panel as well that we also are actively maintaining high quality on.
Sure.
But I would say to kind of like really answer your question, yeah, like in this age of like AI and like advancements in technology, it's kind of providing more and more opportunities for fraudsters to like find ways to fake their credentials to get into these surveys. So I would say what I see in the future is just a lot of adaptability and like getting better at seeking out the ways that like all of the bots and fraudsters are sneaking into these surveys because they're like blocking JavaScript now. There's always a new way. I always say it's kind of like a bacteria in that like the stronger we get at defending ourselves, they're getting stronger at figuring out ways around it. But yeah, with AI and AI is just kind of supplementing that. But
Sure.
I think as many kind of risks as there are to AI, there's also a lot of opportunities out there. So it's also just looking at what those opportunities are and how we can, as a industry, become super adaptable to it and grow from there and become even have the highest level of data accuracy possible, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
optimistic.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to ask. It's sort of a continuum of researchers and how they feel about it. A continuum from
Yeah.
extreme pessimism to extreme optimism, and you fall more on the optimism side.
Yeah, I fall more toward optimism. I'm a little bit in the middle sometimes. It's hard not to be when you kind of just hear all the voices on LinkedIn and hear all the different opinions and everything going on. But I think a couple years from now, I think we're gonna, as an industry, have so many more tools at our disposal to really get ahead of get ahead of fraud and utilize AI in the best way possible.
Yeah, sure, sure. All right, so you're a super busy guy, Joseph. You've got your day
I
job.
try.
That's right. You've got your day job. You've got your night job, singing and playing in a band, and you've also you're heavily involved in the Insights Association. So you don't have a lot of time, right? But we all find ways to consume media of our choice.
Yeah.
Curious to know, when you're being choiceful about what media you're consuming for insight, inspiration, or enjoyment. What's earning your time?
What do I love? I love on Spotify, which I'm a Spotify boy. I'm sure Apple Music also has stuff like this and other streaming platforms. But there's a Discover Weekly where the algorithm basically tells you once a week they make a new playlist for you
Right.
that just is like kind of what they think will be stuff you'll be really into based on other music that you listen to. And but to get out of that echo chamber, I also like to listen to every Friday. I go to the New Music Friday and try to expand my musical horizon by listening to all sorts of different genres of new music and to try to kind of like stay on top of all the new trends in music. And similarly with research, I am always reading Green Book, always reading Quirks. They have great articles, and that keeps me up to date on everything happening with AI and data quality, which we've also discussed. So, yeah, great resources.
Yeah, very cool. Sounds similar to me. You mentioned Quirks. I have been reading Quirks now for almost 30 years. So
Whoa,
yeah, it was. I started my career in Minnesota, and I was surprised to learn that they were headquartered just down the street from me.
no
Uh,
way.
was kind of neat. Yeah, and so it was like
You ever hang out there?
No, I have not. I have hung out at their conferences, of course,
Of
but
course.
not their headquarters. But
Yeah.
it's wonderful to see Quirks not only just surviving but thriving and
Oh
really
yeah.
the industry.
It's it's so great. And anytime I'm talking to students with because I'm on the board of the MSMRA program at MSU,
Sure.
when I'm working with you and the kids at UTA, I'm always talking up Quirks and Green Book as great resources, things you can share on LinkedIn to establish thought leadership. That's always my 2 cents of what can we do to get ahead and to know more about what's happening in the industry.
Sure, for sure. Excellent. All right, so you know what's coming, Joseph. This is the Rock and Roll Research Podcast after all. So we got to talk some rock and roll. Don't let that color your answer. You know, it can be
Right.
any genre, whatever.
Of
Uh,
course.
let's say you're stranded on a desert island, Joseph. You have 3 albums of your choosing to keep you company for the rest of your days. What are they?
3 albums. All right. So I kind of already mentioned this in the making of my EP, but Songs About Jane was hugely influential to me as I've made all of my music and as I've written my own songs and
Yeah.
in the production of my songs. So I think Songs About Jane is, as they say, a no skip album, just amazing. Maroon 5, Songs About Jane. So that's
Yeah,
number
I
one.
mean, you kind of have the look too. So I mean, it
Oh,
all
thank you. Oh
all
my
comes
gosh.
together.
I appreciate that. High praise. And then album two, I would say I love Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder.
Oh
Also,
yeah, yeah,
such an
classic.
influence on me. Yeah. Well, I'm a Detroit boy too, so Motown was huge growing up, and Stevie Wonder, he's the GOAT, you know? He's incredible.
For sure.
Uh, funny story with this song, Isn't She Lovely? I
Mhm.
grew up thinking that was a saxophone solo because it's just so pristine, like the sound that he's able to elicit from the harmonica. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a harmonica. When I found that out, I was like, how does one even do that? I'm like, that's so crazy.
You know what?
So
I have speculated. I had not concluded what instrument
yeah,
it was, so I've learned something here today. It's
yep,
so
you're
tight.
welcome. Yes, yes. And finally, my last album that I would take with me, I gotta say, it might be Shrek 2 soundtrack. It's
Really?
phenomenal. No
Okay,
skip.
remind me what's on the Shrek 2 soundtrack.
All right, we got Accidentally in Love, Counting Crows. We've got oh man, what's the Fairy Godmother song, right? That's like I need a hero. Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
one,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Holding out for a hero. Oh my gosh. Is that one Livin' La Vida Loca by Eddie Murphy and Antonio Banderas? You can't go wrong. Lots of bops.
You know, it's really funny because I just had this discussion with my son who's in 10th grade.
Yeah.
And he's playing in the school band, and every student got to submit a song to be considered to be in the band concert. And he
Yeah.
told me that the two that were chosen, one of them was Holding Out for a Hero. I'm like, yeah, that's so crazy. You know, these songs, Bonnie Tyler from the 1980s.
Right.
Come on. He's like,
Right.
who's that? He's like, it's from the Shrek 2 soundtrack. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Exactly. It's like I should have known. Should have known. Oh yeah, they're always bringing back the classics. Yeah, Shrek knows what's up. Yeah, iconic.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd have a fun one.
I can say with certainty that's the first mention of the Shrek 2 soundtrack for the
Yeah,
Desert Island disc
I
set.
was hoping. I wanted to differentiate myself a little bit, and I want to also point out it was a tough choice between Shrek 2 and Shrek 1, which I would bring
Oh,
because
yeah.
Shrek 1, you've got All Star by Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
You've got uh, I'm a Believer. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's got some bangers for sure. Yeah.
all singers. Yeah.
Super cool. Awesome. Well, you know what I'm off to do, Joseph, is I have a task list from you uh, for
I'm always keeping you busy.
it is in fact for the 2025 South Central Southwest chapter annual event in Las Vegas. And I've got some work to do on that. And I'm overdue, so I
Okay.
apologize for that. I've got
Hey, All good, but I love that you're plugging it. Save the date, March 6th and 7th, 2025, everybody. Save the date. Registration page coming soon.
March 6th and 7th, we've got new work so early on this.
I
It's going to
know.
be the
We
best
never do
one
that.
ever, for sure.
I know. Yeah, we're already talking to some pretty awesome speakers that are kind of heavy prospects right now, likely
Exactly.
going to be there. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, awesome, cool, excellent. Definitely go check out Joe Wylie on Spotify. Check out that brand new EP as soon as you're done listening to
Yeah.
this episode. We're doing the same. I'm very excited to hear it. So good stuff. Great to chat with you, Joseph. I'm
Good
so
chatting
glad
with you.
that I learned that you're such an awesome singer. We got a jam
Thank you.
sometime.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And it's a pleasure to be on the podcast. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk soon. Rock and roll.
Let's go.